Welcome to Speed in Color, a podcast and YouTube channel about custom motorcycle culture. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to get all the latest content. You can also follow Speed in Color on Instagram. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hi there. Welcome to another episode of Speed and Color. So today I am with a fellow that I met a little more than a year ago. Great guy, nice gentleman. I really like this guy. And he has a company called BidMoto, which is an online auction deal. So Chris Avarello, thank you for having me.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, this will be good. So a little bit of background. Met Chris, found out about BidMoto. Don't know as much about BidMoto as I want to at this point, but found out a little bit about BidMoto, and I've been watching it and watching what Chris is doing, and I've been having ideas of ways we could use it for custom motorcycle culture. For example, the XS650 I'm working on right now, once it's done, this bike is not a keeper. It is going to be for sale. Trying to sell, trying to use those typical avenues, those typical tools out there to get something sold. Not always what a person wants to do, and I've been looking for something that would be innovative and maybe get to a different crowd, a different demographic. And then it hit me, wow, BidMoto. I haven't seen a chopper on there yet. Why not, right? Why not sell your chopper on BidMoto, or your Cafe Racer, or your Brat, or whatever it is you're into? It's all good. So that's why I wanted to come over and spend a little bit of time with Chris and learn more about Chris, but more about BidMoto and the process and the advantages and how it works. And, I think a lot of us right now are a little bit lost on the process and maybe haven't had time to do the research. And I thought it would be way easier if we just got Chris to explain to us what it is he's doing. So to start, Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you wound up here, education, trades, that kind of thing.
Sure. So originally born in Ontario.
Whereabouts?
I was in Ottawa. Born in Ottawa. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've talked. I lived in Ottawa I grew up in Ottawa.
Yeah. So I lived in Ottawa for most of my childhood. Grew up, as probably many can relate watching this, on the pegs of a dirt bike. Always have been drawn and attracted to motorcycles since I was just a wee little guy. Went to school in Ottawa for business marketing.
Where'd you go?
Went to Algonquin College.
Yeah, I went to Algonquin.
There you go.
That's
nice.
cool.
Yeah. So I did a couple programs there in business administration and then business marketing. Mm-hmm. I went on to work in the banking industry after that. Put in a fair amount of time, about 8 years in banking. And just got sort of tired of the politics and the bureaucracy that come with banking.
Right.
And decided to, always liked working with my hands, and decided to go a different route. So I had a friend working in an industry called paintless dent removal at the time. And I trained with this friend for about a year. And then I apprenticed with him for another year. And moved over to that industry in 2009. So paintless dent removal, we would fix, our main job there was to fix hail-damaged cars. Our customers were insurance companies and rental car companies and people with insurance claims. So that was a fun time in life. I was living like a nomad, traveling all over, away from home a lot though. but got to see all of Canada and other parts of the world. And then eventually came into a point where I was in a position that I wanted to focus more on something that was passion-driven for me. Okay. And that's how BidMoto became.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Politically here. If you were into banking.
Yeah.
So what do you think of our new prime minister?
Oh, gosh. This is about motorcycles, isn't it?
Hey, I'll admit, I love the guy. I think the guy is doing a great job so far. So, no problem.
Yeah.
But, of course, his banking background is extensive.
Yeah. We've seen the track records.
Yeah. Real good. And yes, it is about motorcycles. So you ride yourself.
Yes, I'm an avid rider. Raced motocross for 10 years back in Ontario. And then went into the road bikes, obviously. Have my level 4 with California Superbike School, and still ride. I ride adventure. I have a Harley. Still ride moto and dirt and enduro. So I'm trying to be on 2 wheels, as much as possible.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And when did you move to Calgary?
So good question. Yeah. So I came out in 2010. Came out to Calgary in 2010, chasing a hailstorm back with the paintless dent removal company, and was out here for a few years and decided that this was where I was going to make home, and moved my company from Toronto. I was living in Toronto at the time. Moved my company from Toronto out to Calgary, and the rest is history.
Well, if you're going to chase hail, Calgary's the place to...
This was the place. So I fell in love with it instantly. The mountains, into BC's close enough.
Yeah.
And for the industry I was in, it made sense.
Yeah, I went back to Ontario for, I guess, 4 or 5 years with Snap-on, doing the district sales manager thing, and London, Stratford, that area. And nothing wrong with it. It's a beautiful area. Riding's pretty good in that area. There's some beautiful roads and stuff. But since the first time that I experienced Calgary, I just knew this was the place I had to live. And I've tried Edmonton, and no offense against Edmontonians or the Oilers or anything else, I just don't fit Edmonton. It's not the place I feel comfortable. I come here, and this just feels like where I was supposed to be.
Totally. I had the same experience. So I see the first
Deerfoot may be a mess, and I won't take a motorcycle on it. And I've been a critic of our roads for a while, and I've been a little bit negative about that, and I have to admit I was being a jerk. We do have some really good roads in the city too. I had the chopper out for 2-wheel Sunday, and found a bunch of beautiful roads to ride over to the event and stuff. And I thought, okay, Bruce, you're being a little bit hard on G.O.D. and her crew, right?
Fair enough. Anyway. And I mean, the fact that you can, in an hour, be out of the city and into some mountain roads.
Yes.
I mean, I love that about this place. I'll jump on my bike and hit the 1A and get off into the mountains, and off you go.
And Stony Trail to get out of the city. And Stony's starting to get a little bit busted up. I hope there's a plan for that. But, I mean, it's a great ring road, and, most of it is in pretty nice shape. Good. Great
summer
stuff.
Construction season.
So, tell me, if I want to sell something, if I want to use BidMoto, what's the deal? How do I sell a bike? I mean, like I say, I don't really know very much about it at all. So why don't you walk us through what it takes, please?
Sure. So I guess I came up with the idea of BidMoto from my own personal experiences. I was getting frustrated from trying to sell my used bikes over the existing forums that we have with Kijiji and Auto Trader and Marketplace. And just with the amount of wasted time with emails coming through with ridiculous offers and phone calls, and you have your bike for sale for $8,000 and somebody calls and says, can I trade you my 91 F-150? And you're like, well, I'm not really looking for a truck. I just want to sell my motorcycle. Right. So with all that happening, I was sitting there just questioning, how else can I sell my motorcycle? So the idea came of BidMoto, where it's an online auction. So it's a platform that you can use to buy or to sell your motorcycle via auction. So the nice part with that is you can interact as much as you wish with buyers if you're a seller. So if you are a buyer, for instance, you're searching, you can go on the website, which is www.bidmoto.com. And you can search right away on the homepage. You'll see what bikes are available for auction. You can click on that bike. You can see all the details on the bike: the year, the make, the model, the mileage, all the photos that somebody's uploaded, what location it is. It's the website is national, so it'll show what location where the bike's located. If you want to take it a step further and you want to start bidding on the bike, and you're interested in purchasing it, you can then set up a profile. So under 2 minutes, you can set up a profile. So we ask for name, phone number, contact details, and a credit card if you're going to start bidding on the bike.
Okay.
We then vet all that information within BidMoto. Make sure everything's legitimate, and then within 24 hours, we'll have your profile approved if everything looks good, and you can start placing bids on the motorcycle.
Okay, so that's a profile as a buyer.
Yes.
And we were talking about sellers. Do sellers need a profile?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you set up a profile, you can either buy or sell.
Okay.
Yeah. So you don't have to. You do not have to set up a profile until you're ready to either list a bike yourself or purchase a bike. So you can get on the site. You can poke around. We have blogs every month that come out. So we've got some information, just some good reading stuff on there. We have and you can poke around and see what bikes are for sale currently. But again, if you wish to purchase or to sell, you do have to set up your profile. Like I said, it takes a couple minutes, and once that profile is set up, you're good. You can purchase, you can sell. There's certain aspects to the profile as well, where you have your own garage where you can add in your bikes and and make it yours and personalize it a little bit. So for selling, same thing. You would set up your profile. You would then fill out the details of your motorcycle. You would upload pictures, fill out all the criteria that we ask for. Again, setting up an ad takes a couple minutes. I'd say less than 5 minutes. Submit it for approval. At BidMoto, we'll review everything, make sure, again, everything is legitimate, make sure everything, as best as we can, vet all the items that come through, and then we'll put it for approval. And it'll go live on the dates and the times that you specifically choose to have your motorcycle live for auction. So you pick the date you want to start. An auction runs 7 days. You pick the time you wish it to start, and it'll go for 7 days from that time.
Okay.
I would say probably one of the more important things when you're setting up an ad would be to set a reserve price on your motorcycle. And a reserve price means that it is the minimum amount of money that you would accept for the sale of your motorcycle.
Right.
So to give you an example, if you put your motorcycle up for sale and you're thinking the minimum I would take on this bike is $10,000, you set your reserve at $10,000, and it's not a sold item until somebody has bid to $10,000.
Okay.
Anything over the $10,000, I mean,
You're committed.
You're committed.
Okay.
But anything over the 10,000 is sort of a bonus to you if there's a bidding war that begins on it.
And just because, how do I want to word this? The reserve does not dictate the opening bid.
Correct.
So you can bid lower.
100%.
Maybe a seller would change his mind if he saw bids or something like that.
You got it.
But you can bid lower,
Yeah.
but your expectation should be that you have to get to that reserve before anybody's getting it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And in fact, starting bids, I would suggest, and this is out of some research that I've done, starting bids should be 40 to 50% of what your reserve price is.
Okay.
And for your initial starting bid. And that sort of draws attention to where people go, okay, that bike's at $5,000. That's a great deal. And then what that does is usually encourages people to start bidding on the motorcycle. And then you have your reserve set in place to protect you. And anything under that 10,000 just won't sell. Anything over it, bonus, and you've sold the bike.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to get back to the My Garage area, so let's say I go in, create my profile, put in my garage, address. Is my address in my profile?
It is.
So I'm at 37 Dandelion Drive. Does anybody have access to that information? Can you connect my garage with my address, and while I'm on the beach in Jamaica, my garage gets emptied out? Or
It's a great question. No. All that information is completely private. It's just you would see it as the person logging who's created the profile, and BidMoto administration sees it, and that's it. The way it works is we need that information just to vet and just check and make sure everybody's legitimate coming onto the site. But the way it works is once, let's say a reserve has been met, a deal is done. We're a facilitator of the deal. So at BidMoto, so we have the site provides a facilitation between the buyer and the seller. So once the deal is complete and the auction closes, we at BidMoto will pass through a secure system the contact information. So just email and phone number of the purchaser to the seller and vice versa. And then from there, it's up to the buyer and the seller to finish financing, and so pay for the motorcycle, and then also to arrange a time for pickup or delivery of the motorcycle.
Right.
Yeah. So there's no other information shared to anybody ever.
So BidMoto never handles the money?
Correct. So
Okay.
BidMoto, as you're bidding, the business model of BidMoto is we take a percentage from the bidders, so people who are buying motorcycles. So we'll take 5%. So if you place a bid on a motorcycle for $1,000, we'll hold $50.
Okay.
Automatically gets held on your Visa as you're bidding.
Okay.
And all bidders have the same hold put on their Visas. And as you bid and increase your bid, it's a 5% hold. So whatever your amount is, it's 5% of that, up to a maximum of $300 only.
Oh, okay.
So any motorcycles over $6,000, you're still paying the same premium as a buyer. Yeah.
Good.
So we put the hold on all bidders, and it just commits you to the deal. Once the bike is sold, we then take whatever that 5% is up to the maximum of $300 off the buyer. All the other holds are released as soon as the auction closes. And the seller, it's free to list. So there's 0 fees associated to listing and selling your motorcycle.
Oh, all right. That's good. Yeah.
So it keeps it fair.
Yeah, for sure.
And then at that point, like I said, the information from the buyer and seller is passed, and then you can arrange the payment on it.
So you mentioned that once the auction is done, that the buyer and seller are connected. What if I'm looking at a bike and I know that there's a common problem somewhere on that model of bike, and I want a close-up picture of that area of the bike? Is there any way for me to request that through BidMoto or something like that?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, you can ask. You can, if there's something specific that you're looking for, you can always email us directly. There's contact us links on the website, and we can go ahead and reach out to the consumer selling the motorcycle and ask for specific items.
Great.
And then pass it along.
Good.
Absolutely. That's a good question, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really encourage sellers to also put as many pictures up as you can showing if there's any damage on the motorcycle, or if there's any upgraded items and parts on the motorcycle. Really showcase that stuff,
right?
So that you're not hiding anything. And then when the consumer does come see the bike to pick it up and purchase it, I mean, it is what it's showing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now your system, you said photos. Any videos, or do you not accept video?
Yeah,
videos
so you can
are
video,
okay.
and again, I encourage that too. Start the bike up, run it. Post the videos up. It can hold. I think it's up to a 3-minute video on the site.
Okay.
You can. It's unlimited on pictures. So plaster it with pictures. Put the video on. Let it run. Let people hear it. I think the more information you give on the motorcycle, what I've seen is that those tend to do better in the auction because people have less questions about them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's great.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is this sounds like a very secure format for both the seller and the buyer.
Sure.
As you know, man, you get into Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji, and there's so many scammers out there. And I mean, first there's the stupid messages and the stupid offers, like my F-150.
Yeah, exactly.
But then there's, can I come out and look at it? Well, now you got to let somebody into your personal life, whether you meet them at Tim Hortons, whatever. You don't know who you're meeting. You don't know where you're going with this. And unfortunately, we do have scammers, cheaters, thieves in our society.
Yeah.
And those people, we don't think like they do, or they don't think like we do. I don't know which way that goes. But you get into a situation where there's a few guys, and you've got your Harley or your Cafe Racer, and man, you're vulnerable. Yeah,
I agree. And that really leads to a really fascinating bit of research that I did before I started the company. I did a few focus groups, talked to people about what their concerns were with the existing platforms, what their thought was with BidMoto and my business model with that. And majority of people, and especially women that I interviewed, brought the security concern up, saying, I don't want somebody coming in my garage, at my home, looking at my bike. I'm there alone. I don't, meeting somewhere is safer, obviously, but there's still, a factor of risk there. And this, by vetting everybody ahead of time with BidMoto, we try to eliminate that.
Right.
With having people only being able to bid on the bike and not email and text you and say, hey, can I come see it? It eliminates that completely. So I think those are some things that I heard when I was doing the initial focus group, and really sort of modeled the business around to make it a little bit safer for everybody, make it more efficient, and not waste your time as much when you're just trying to sell a motorcycle.
Right.
And I think also at the end of the day, you have to remember we're dealing with motorcycles. Make it fun. If you've ever done an auction, keep it fun, keep it exciting. You have people bidding on your bike. you're seeing it going up, the value. You're having a blast doing it. When you're bidding and you get in a bidding war with somebody, if you're trying to buy a bike and you're going back and forth, it gets super competitive. And I know I've had those experiences, and I think it's important for people to have that experience. Just remember, we're talking about motorcycles, right? And it's a passion for us all. So,
well, that's great. That's such a good point to keep it fun.
Yeah.
Which, if it's secure and structured and good that way, then you can have fun.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
It's hard to have fun with people emailing you with, like I say, dumb offers, dumb questions, all that kind of stuff. So,
100%.
No, that's really cool. Now, international, and we'll get on to genres of bikes here in a minute, but I'm thinking about a guy who maybe has let's say a Honda CB125 Cafe Racer, some special bike. You know, I have a lot of viewers and listeners in the U.S., so a lot of Americans. An American in Texas, let's say, goes on to BidMoto, sees this little Cafe Racer and says, man, I want one of those in my collection. I've been looking for one forever. And not to mention, I'm going to spend American dollars, but I'm buying in Canadian, so I'm going to be way ahead of the game here.
Totally.
Can Americans, Australians, Europeans, can they all bid as well? Is this open, or is this just Canada?
Yeah. Currently, just Canada.
Okay.
So currently just Canada, actually, except Quebec. I'm working on that right now. So some different regulations and rules with Quebec. So I wasn't. We're working through that red tape right now. My goal and my plan is in the next year, roughly, to open it up into the U.S.
Okay.
At that point, international. I mean, I'm not sure if I'll go further than the U.S. just from logistics of shipping, communication, time zones, that kind of thing. So the U.S. though is definitely in the future. I mean, it's a much bigger market. You know, if I can have more bikes on the platform, it's
well, that's it. It's a much bigger market both ways. You know, if you're looking for a project Harley Davidson or a vintage Harley Davidson in Canada, your selection is so much more small, limited than the U.S. And I mean, there's so many Harleys in the U.S. Yeah. If a Canadian could purchase those U.S. bikes, that would really open things up.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. I totally agree with that. I think I mean, again, just from the population difference, they tend to more product there.
Cool.
So that is definitely something in the future.
Good.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about models, styles, whatever. You know, in all honesty, watching your posts and stuff and going to your site the odd time, I've seen a lot of adventure bikes. I've seen a lot of sport bikes.
Yep.
I've seen some touring bikes maybe.
Yep.
You know, really, I got thinking about this and got focused on the Canadian Vintage Motorcycle Club and the Vintage Japanese VJMC, Vintage Japanese Motorcycle Club, and you know, being a builder, choppers and bobbers and cafe racers. So, what's your target for BidMoto? Are you looking for specific types of bikes?
Absolutely not. No, I mean, a motorcycle's a motorcycle. I ride every different genre of motorcycle, and all are welcome on the site. Okay. I mean, we've had electric bikes for kids, like the Stasic electric bikes that kids start on. We've had those. We've motocross, enduro, adventure, like I said, Harley, you name it, sport bikes. So touring bike, anything. So if you have a motorcycle and you want to sell it or looking to buy, it's just an alternative to the existing channels that are out there right now. Okay. Zero restrictions on what's allowed on the site. We do ask that all bikes are in good running condition. and that are operational. So that's in our terms and conditions. The bike has to be operational. We're not selling
basket cases,
you got
parts,
and project bikes that aren't running.
Right.
So, but if it's running in good working order, absolutely pop it up.
Doesn't have to be registered, just has to be in good working order.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's really cool, because I was looking at it the other day. I was out to a VJMC members event, and he had a bunch of his bikes out. And I was looking at, Honda 360 Scrambler and even an old 68 Dream that he had there. And, to get young people into the motorcycle community, whatever you want to call it. I think too many young people maybe think that you have to go buy that new Harley Davidson, which is outrageous price-wise for a first bike, for most.
Yeah.
Or you got to go buy that new CB500, or, you got to have the R9 or whatever it is, right? It was funny, I had two young guys come by when I was selling my CM400T, and they came over and looked at it, and they really liked it and everything. And the one guy said to me, "Would you ride this to Red Deer?" And man, 400cc, when I was a kid, 400cc was a big bike.
It's a big bike, yeah.
And I said, yeah, I'd ride it to Red Deer, of course, right?
Yeah.
The thing, what's redline on an old CM400? 11,000 RPM or something crazy? So those bikes just run forever. And I'm pretty sure you can pick up late 70s, early 80s vintage Yamahas, Hondas, Suzukis in that, 2000 will get you one for sure.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I think if more young people got an interest in, that's really affordable transportation to get to my job, my summer job, or to get to university or whatever. That's kind of a cool bike. The price is very reasonable.
Yeah.
Insurance isn't going to be out of the world.
Yeah.
Not a bad way to go. So
Agreed.
we can get more people interested with that kind of thing, and that's where I think BidMoto could make a difference too, if we get the owners of those older bikes. You mentioned the lady who didn't want anybody in her garage. There's a lot of people, and unfortunately there's a family death, and there's a bike in the garage that hasn't gone anywhere for 10 years.
You got it.
And again, in the case of 70s, 80s Japanese technology, those things just run forever.
You got
They just run forever, unless they get really wet and corroded or something like that. But if they've been in a dry garage, change the oil, fire it up, and away you go. You'll put another 60,000 kilometers on it.
Absolutely.
Right? So that kind of situation where it's almost an estate sort of thing, BidMoto can be a very effective means of moving that along.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it does expose the motorcycle to a different market that isn't a convoluted market with like Marketplace or Kijiji, and it's very specific to the industry. It's very specific to motorcycles, and I mean, all of my following on social and the site are all motorcycle people who are looking for motorcycles. So it's a very niche market, and it's very specific to that. And to your point as well, I mean, about a couple months ago, we had a few bikes that were listed with no reserve. So they were trying to attract more attention and possibly create a bidding war to earn more money on the sale of their bike. But it didn't go as high as they had hoped. So the buyer of the motorcycle got a fantastic deal on a couple bikes.
Oh, is that right?
So to your point, if you're younger and you're looking for an affordable way to buy a motorcycle, sometimes there'll be motorcycles on there without reserves, and you can possibly scoop them up for an incredible deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So,
even if
another
you're
option.
even if you're an old guy and you haven't
Even
had a
if you're
bike,
an old guy, we all
even-
like saving
You haven't
money.
had a bike for 30 years and
Yeah.
you want to get back into it.
Anybody, I shouldn't say just a
great
younger
way.
crowd. Yeah.
Well, no,
everybody
we're
loves
focused. We're
saving
focused
money.
on the young ones because
Yeah.
we got enough old guys in the community. We're okay with old guys.
Yeah, we've got a collection of bikes already. That
Yeah.
we get in trouble
So
for every day, don't we?
it is nice to get the younger
Yeah.
crowd in.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
What haven't I asked you? I know you got some notes there.
Yeah,
What have I missed that you want to tell people
let me
about?
See. So, I mean, maybe the future we kind of talked about. I mean, I'll give you a quick recap. I mean, lately we're getting views on the site. We're getting between 400 and 6,500 views a month on the site. We've sold a few bikes over the last few months. Inventory is always important to have on the site, and that's what I'm working towards, to try and keep inventory on the site. One thing that we've recently added into the to the website and to your listing is if you are selling a motorcycle and your time expires and reserve hasn't been met and you haven't sold the motorcycle, there's now just a relist button that you can select, and you just pick a new date and time, and you don't have to recreate the ad.
Okay.
And it automatically just re-puts it into auction. So, I mean, so hopefully the next 7 days that it runs, there's a buyer that's there looking at it. So we're trying to make it easier for people to just keep their motorcycles on the site, keep relisting them. And just what I'm doing, I guess, in the community too, I've been trying to support more local stuff and sponsoring some tracks, out at events, sponsoring some events. Working with, I have worked actually last year with a couple of race schools. So trying to just get out there in the community more and just get more exposure and let people know that we are here. There is another option for you, and educating them on how it works. So I appreciate you having me on and talking about this, because I think it's scary
good.
for some
Competition bikes, because you keep getting back to motocross and racing. Competition bikes on the site are good.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Even track bikes, whatever. As long as it's in a good running order, you list them, get them on there, and get some views on them. Yeah, absolutely.
No, that's good stuff. How many listings are on the site right now?
It varies, right? It's always going. It's always changing. I'm not sure. I think we only have a couple bikes listed on them right now. But it varies. There are some times that we have dealers participating and popping up a whole bunch of bikes on there, and there are other times that it's all just personal bikes and private bikes.
Right.
And so the numbers are a little bit lower right now, but if you're selling, it's kind of ideal, because all eyes will be on your bike if you put it up for a listing.
Of course, right now, this time of year, everybody wants their bike. Everybody wants to ride. This isn't a selling time.
You got it. Yeah, spring and fall. I mean, we'll see in the fall over the winter. We definitely have spikes during March and April, and then we'll see. Will be our first fall running as an operational company, so we'll see how this fall plays out.
Okay, so when did you get? Because I met you a year ago. So when did BidMoto actually go live?
So, yeah, sure. So we did last year when I met you. We did a soft launch on it, like a beta launch on it, testing it, pulling some information from our users. We went back to the drawing boards, fixed a few things on them, made them a little bit more efficient, and then relaunched January of this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're really not that far into it.
No. Yeah, it's still considered a relatively new company, and I'm still trying to do everything I can to get it out there and let people know that it's there and it's live.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent.
Yeah.
What else is coming up?
Coming up, so...
Where are you going to be next? Were you at Two Wheel Sunday?
I was unfortunately not this year.
You were away on vacation?
I was away. Yeah, I was
good
away,
for you.
So it was a much-needed vacation with the family. But next, I'll be sponsoring some local events at Wild Rose Motocross, doing some stuff there, and trying to, visit with people like you and get exposure and chat, have good conversations, and meet with some of the clubs in the city and get some riding myself. You know?
Ride to those meetings.
Oh, man,
hey, tell me, we mentioned the website, and it is BidMoto.com.
Yeah, www.bidmoto.com.
Social media, where are we going to find you?
BidMoto. So search BidMoto, Instagram, Facebook. We've got some stuff obviously on YouTube. We've got some description videos, so you can go through it. And
yeah, you do have some instructional type stuff that I've seen. Yes.
Totally. Yeah. So I think that's our biggest hurdle, our biggest obstacle is to just teach people how easy it is to use, and that it's safe to use, and it's not just for broken down parts or bikes that don't work any longer, so we'll throw them to auction. It's they're the same bikes that you'll see on Kijijis or the Auto Traders or the marketplaces, just with a different format for buying and selling.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good. TikTok, Threads,
all the social channels.
You're on all of them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you do it all yourself?
I don't. Absolutely not. You. No. No. I have a marketing team that does that and helps me with that. I do some posting myself, but I have the fancy, the polished ones are for my marketing team.
Right.
The other ones are mine. Yeah. The other ones are mine. So
good for you, because that stuff can eat you up.
It's consuming. It's consuming, and it's tiring. I mean, I find it exhausting. I want to get out there and talk to people. I want to go to events and ride and be, amongst the community, but I don't necessarily want to be working with programs, putting together ads and getting likes and watching, how many hits I get on it. So, but it's part of the game.
Well, and it's consistency. If you have people doing it for you,
it is.
Then you can get that consistency.
Totally.
And that's, frankly, where Speed and Color struggles right now, because it's me doing everything.
Yeah.
Is getting that consistency. Now, if I could get the revenue up here and actually hire somebody to take care of that for me, that'd be a wonderful thing. Yeah, I might have to talk to you about who's doing your stuff.
Yeah, you can. We can have that talk for sure. Yeah, and time, I feel.
Right on. Yeah. Good. Well, you know what? I think we've covered it pretty well. If anybody has questions, please. On YouTube, and I think you can leave comments on most podcasts now too, can't you?
Absolutely.
I think they've added that to the platforms. Yeah. So leave us a comment, ask us a question. I'm sure there's a contact us on BidMoto.com.
Absolutely.
So you can get to Chris that way. So like I say, whether you come through me, go through Chris, it'll all work. Would love to hear your thoughts. And it'd be nice to see some profiles and stuff. And maybe right now isn't the best time to sell your bike, but September you might be thinking, this thing doesn't need to hang around the garage all winter. We should work on a new project or something. But we'll leave that with you. Speed and Color on Instagram. Don't do Facebook. I might do TikTok one of these days. When I get that marketing team, but for now it's Instagram, Speed and Color KOLOR, as well, of course, podcast platforms, the YouTube channel. Would love it if you would subscribe. We'll keep putting out videos, and hopefully you'll keep listening and watching. So there you go, from the Calgary offices of BidMoto. Chris and Bruce saying thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Bruce.